launch of Africa's first central bank digital currency, the e-Naira, marks a major step forward in the evolution of money and the federal government's commitment towards ensuring that the e-Naira, like the physical Naira, is accessible to all. Getting insights on how Nigeria is leveraging technology and the benefits of this platform is our focus on Panorama from Port Harcourt Network Center. I am Jenny Bassi. Another round of prayer crusade for divine intervention in the affairs of Nigeria has been held in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as President Muhammadu Buhari performed the Lesser Hajj at the Grand Kaaba in holy city of Mecca. This is the third time the president is performing this ritual of remarkable significance since coming to power. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The Lesser Hajj, otherwise called Umrah like Hajj, is amongst the best deeds Muslims can perform when pleasing Allah. It is indeed an act of great significance for the sake of the Creator. Therefore, apart from the bountiful rewards that can be derived, as well as forgiveness of committed sins, all prayer requests made here are considered granted. For President Muhammadu Buhari, who is in Saudi Arabia for this year's Future Investment Summit, this is another opportunity that cannot be misused. In line with the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the President, alongside members of his delegation to the summit, amongst them movers and shakers of the economy, performed tawaf, the circumambulation of the Grand Kaaba, as well as sa'i, going between Safa and Marwa. They walked and indeed run where necessary in compliance with Islamic injunctions. And intermittently, prayers were offered for both personal and greater interests of the Nigerian nation.
It is very important for the president to be here to pray to the Almighty, to intervene in the challenges being confronted by our country. As the leader, the responsibility is on his shoulder. He has been doing his best, and he needs the Almighty Allah to intervene and make his effort very successful. Whenever you happen to be a leader and there are challenges confronting your nation, if you humble yourself and pray to the Almighty, he will respond positively. So that is why I think at the moment, his prayer could be the most important for our nation. And we are very optimistic that Almighty Allah will answer his prayers.
From the start, the president has a clear idea. He had clearly defined what the problems of the country are. He identified the issue of security and the economy, which needed to be restructured, and the need to fight corruption. And coming up to this point, the president has done enormously well dealing with the security, especially of late. Successes are being recorded every day. The economy today has been diversified. So it's no longer a matter of speculation or anticipation. So given all of that is happening, I mean, the president and all of us Nigerian people, we are believing people, whether we are Christian, Muslim, or traditionalists. We believe that there is also a spiritual input to the achievements that we seek. So yes, this is why the president steeped himself in intense prayer, so that the intervention of the Almighty would also come in order that we are successful in completing and accomplishing those targets that he has set for the nation.
President Muhammadu Buhari was earlier accorded a befitting welcome on arrival at King Abdulaziz International Airport, Jeddah, by a high-powered Saudi Arabian government delegation led by the governor of Makkah, Prince Bandar bin Sultan bin Abdulaziz. From Makkah, Saudi Arabia, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Nigeria remains committed to fulfilling its obligations as a member of the ECOWAS and the African Union, as well as leading role on the continent. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo gave the assurance at the 5th Conference of Network of African Parliamentarians, members of Defense and Security Committees in Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Vivian Idekbefo has the report.
Transnational terrorism, cross-border crime, asymmetrical and cyber warfare, as well as armed conflicts that persist in renewed forms, experts say require another tactical approach. This gathering of African parliamentary members of defense and security committees, therefore, seeks to explore the prospects of the recently developed European Union Peace Facility and the strategies adopted by legislators in discharging their constitutional roles in a pandemic, particularly as it relates to national security. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo pointed Nigeria's commitment to the cause of Africa's integration and ECOWAS protocol on free movement of goods, people, and services. At a time governments across the continent are dealing with multiple threats that could jeopardize regional security, the Vice President believes the newly established European Peace and Defense Facilities would advance the capacity to promote peace and stability on the region.
As part of our efforts in responding, we have prioritized our commitment to the constitutional imperative of guaranteeing the security and welfare of the people. We have embarked upon an ambitious program of reforming critical law enforcement institutions while sustaining consistently increased investment in our defense and security sectors.
We have to domesticate whatever activity that we resolve here in our parliaments. And what is essential also is to also engage the executive arms of our government in all our countries.
Drawing from his experience in the military and now a traditional, cultural and religious leader, the Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Muhammadu Sa'ad Abubakar III, assured of support and leadership in attaining set goals.
And as traditional religious and cultural leaders, we will always be around to support you, to also lead in getting things done. And alhamdulillah, here in Nigeria, I want to tell our African brothers here, we have a very, very close relationship between the National Assembly with the executive and the traditional religious leaders, because everything being done at any time, they've always referred to us.
The three-day conference has defense and security cooperation between Europe and Africa, new mechanisms and reappropriation as the theme. In Abuja, Vivian Idekbefo, NTA News.
Of the much-awaited globally recognized digital currency, the e-Naira, on the platform of the nation's financial system. Nigerians import hacker, just like the previously introduced monetary policies, are skeptical but envisage that the digital currency brings to the economy benefits that will encourage competitive growth, deepen financial inclusion and ensure seamless transactions, as well as reduce bank charges and corrupt practices. Joy Uzo reports.
The e-Naira, if there is an issue with my, say, with the application or whatever, who do I go to? But if I go to my bank, through my bank, I make a transaction and there's an issue, maybe it wasn't delivered or something, I know who to hold.
But I think it might help cut the cost incurred on printing money, because we all know printing money itself is expensive.
Nigeria has keyed into the world of technology to maximize the potentials for human and capital advancement. This, no doubt, is eliciting reaction from stakeholders in Port Harcourt as they bared their minds on the unveiling of Africa's first central bank digital currency, known as the e-Naira. Seeing that the effective implementation of such policies requires the willingness of stakeholders to key into it, financial experts are of the opinion that the cashless policy, when it was first introduced, did not receive much accolades, but today it has been embraced by all.
The institutions are prepared. Central Bank of Nigeria being the lead institution, the regulators, they are prepared. The commercial banks, the microfinance banks, and the other financial institutions, they are also prepared because they have already been used to making electronic transactions. And then the general public, most people have smartphones, Android phones, and they have this app, these banking apps, and the USSD code in their phones. So to that extent, I can say we are all prepared.
It is important that everybody in the society is brought into the financial net so that all the leakages in the financial system is plugged. And one of the ways that we are going to achieve that is through the e-Naira.
Officially introduced on Monday, October 25th, the e-Naira, according to the Central Bank of Nigeria, is not just another central bank digital currency, CBDC. The platform is said to be a people-oriented digital currency leveraging technology to connect individuals and businesses for easy trading and financial inclusion. In Port Harcourt, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
And to throw more light on this is Dr. Ibieri Jones. Dr. Ibieri Jones is a financial expert. It is my pleasure to have you on Panorama today. Doctor, you just heard the report. Now, throw more light. What is e-Naira? What is e-Naira all about, or what is it?
First of all, I want to commend the CBN governor, for bringing this up, because and being the first country in Africa. But e-Naira is a digital currency that is issued by the CBN as a legal tender. So you just like the fiat currency, which is the physical naira, but in this term it is the digital naira, and it's having the same value. Can use it to pay, it's cheaper, it's faster, and it's generally more efficient, in carrying on business. So I want to commend the CBN for doing that.
Okay, it's different because this one is in a wallet, not like the physical one that we hold. Now, so what's so spectacular about this e-Naira? Because we already have another electronic form of banking like the POS. I can also transfer from my phone. I can go to the ATM. Sometimes I can even go to the bank to do transfer. What's spectacular? What's unique? Or what's the difference between e-Naira and these other forms of electronic banking?
Jenny, the major difference is that e-Naira is a legal tender. But the other one you are talking about, using ATM, those are bank deposits. Bank deposit is not legal tender. You only deposit the money, and once you deposit, you become a creditor to the bank, and the bank becomes a debtor. So the deposit is a liability to the bank. And you are keeping it there, you kept it there in trust that on demand, you get back your money, that the bank will refund you your money. So there are basically two differences, because assume that a bank collapses, what happens? You cannot hold anybody responsible, because it's not a legal tender. Bank deposit. The difference is that the e-Naira is a legal tender, just like the fiat currency, the physical naira. But bank deposit, you may say yes, it's your money, but it is as good as the bank paying you the money before you can now say that that physical naira is a legal tender. What I mean is that if you have 1 million naira in the bank, you cannot assume that 1 million is a legal tender until it is being withdrawn, or you transfer that value to another person.
Okay. You said it is being saved as a trust.
Yes, in trust.
Now, let's look at 24 hours after the currency was launched. Over 100,000 persons downloaded the app. And 48 hours after, it was pulled out from Google Play Store. How am I sure that my money will be saved there? Given the fact that Nigerians have problems with trust issue.
Yes. And these are technical things. It is left for CBN to come out, with an appropriate measure to ensure that does not happen again. And I even hear that there are some other people, some boys or men that are trying to, create a different platform to deceive the public. But that should not be. What is happening here is that the CBN is regulating, and they are also an operator. So they need to, and they ought to come out with solutions in a way that the public will have confidence in the e-Naira. But for me personally, I have confidence that it will work out because it has worked in other countries and we've learned from what they are doing.
Okay, briefly before I let you go, so how will this e-Naira impact on our commerce and trade?
Yes, the e-Naira, first, the payment system will be very efficient. Okay, second, there will be no need for reconciliation. Once money is paid, it is there, unlike the one that you pay through the banks. And the other thing again is, part of the challenge that I see, when you talk about commerce, because you can never talk about commerce without talking about loans. Okay, because businesses must go, for loans to the banks. Now, if I have money in the bank and I desire to keep my money in e-currency and ABCD, let's assume that 70% of the customers want to have their money in e-currency. That will frustrate the efforts of those commercial banks to grant loans. The other way left is for them to apply to the CBN to get loans, or to market me to say, look, and at that time when they market me, I have an option, okay, because the option that I have now is that I can have my currency in digital form, but for the Naira, I don't have so much option because I need to go and deposit it in the bank to ensure it is safe. But with the wallet, it is safe and secure. So one, for commerce, it will also enhance the payment system.
All right.
It enhance the payment system and even cross-border, payments.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Jones, for coming on Panorama today. We thank you for the insight. Thank you. We'll now pause for commercials. Panorama continues shortly. The astronomical increase in the price of liquefied natural gas, popularly called cooking gas, is beginning to affect the source of energy among some households in Port Harcourt. Residents are therefore calling for urgent regulation of the price to avoid its attendant consequences on human health and environmental hazards. Robinson Darataide reports.
Few months ago, a kilogram of liquefied natural gas, popularly called cooking gas, cost between 350 to 400 naira, but now sells for 700 naira, compelling many households to seek alternative means of cooking in Port Harcourt. Feedback from respondents indicates that the situation is forcing poor Nigerians to resort to charcoal or firewood as the price of kerosene is also beyond the reach of many. This has resulted in the patronage of adulterated kerosene, otherwise known as wildfire in River State, with slight increase in price due to the high patronage.
Before, not be like that, but now they rush and wear. They buy and wear upon say in the cost.
Now I'm using kerosene, and the price of the kerosene is affecting, especially we that we are using it every day. Like 25 litre now, this week they will sell it 4,000, the following week they will sell it 35.
With the launch of 250 billion naira natural gas expansion program in December 2020 by the Central Bank of Nigeria to stimulate investment in the gas value chain, one tends to wonder this hike in gas price.
Within this period, maybe from now till 6 months' time, all importers of gas, this is a waiver policy for you to enable us have enough inflow.
With the suit in Port Harcourt, experts are concerned over the toxic implications of charcoal to the environment, the health of the people, and the attendant effect on deforestation caused by increase in firewood usage. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Darataide, NTA News.
Reducing the gridlock and loss of productive hours usually experienced at the Calabar-Odupangi Junction, the entrance into Calabar, is the concern of the Cross River State government. Thus, the construction of a spaghetti flyover along the road, which is presently at an advanced stage. Paul Abel reports that Governor Ben Ayade was on an inspection visit to the site and now reports.
The spaghetti flyover, which has been under construction for some months now and regarded as the first in this part of the world, is expected to make easy access into and outside Calabar, as well as serve as a link to the superhighway which connects northern Nigeria and the proposed Bakassi deep sea port. Despite the delay caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and other environmental factors, the state governor is optimistic that the project will be completed in record time.
We got approval by the federal government to dualize the road at our own expense. So as a state, we're undertaking the responsibility of fixing the Calabar-Odukpani dual carriage road at a cost of the state, a total cost to the state, without a commitment from federal government for reimbursement. But basically speaking, it will be the first spaghetti flyover in Nigeria. And phase one of it is what we are working on now. And I'm happy to say that the abutments have been completed, the beams have been cast, and we're getting ready to lift and place the beams. My hope is that by the close of Q1 of next year, this spaghetti flyover should indeed be ready.
The governor appeals to commuters to bear with the current situation and obey traffic regulations, while his government will not fail to make life meaningful to the people. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
Party Governors Forum says its consensus building mechanism ahead of its 2021 elective national convention slated for this weekend has attained 80% success. Chairman of the forum and Governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, disclosed this after the forum's meeting in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
All the 13 governors elected on the PDP platform attended the meeting, which attempted to get a general resolution on all the National Working Committee positions to be contested in the party's elective national convention this weekend by consensus.
Consensus is part of the democratic process, so we are imbibing that in the interest of our party so that we can continue to have stability, and then we'll position the party, as we have always said, for the future.
The forum promised to consult widely to ensure an amicable outcome on the positions yet to be resolved before the convention begins this Saturday. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party 2021 Elective National Convention Organizing Committee has commenced training of its electoral officers ahead of the convention.
We have to go into a democratic system, and for us to go into that democratic system, we have to come and receive training from the INEC, which is the first thing ever in democratic setup in Nigeria. We are going to make everything possible so that the election will be very much democratic.
The training is part of preparations for a free, fair, credible, and transparent elective national convention. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Tamara Ibiwe is our guide.
Nigeria's basketball team, the Tigers, will face Cape Verde next month in the 2023 African World Cup qualifier opener in Angola. FIBA Africa this week confirmed Angola as the host country for the first window of the FIBA Basketball World Cup qualifiers. While Nigeria is facing Cape Verde, Mali will go against Uganda. Cote d'Ivoire will face Angola, while Guinea will slug it out with Central African Republic. The host countries for the remaining African qualifiers windows will be announced at a later date. In handball, the 2021 Prudent Energy Handball Premier League enters day 9 on Friday as teams battle to outplay each other. At the end of match day 8, Thursday, Rima Strikers beat Plateau Vipers, while defenders lost to Safety Shooters 18-23 in the men's category. In the women's event, Kada Queens bowed to the superpower of Adorable Angels. Edo Dynamos outplayed Bayelsa Queens by 32-20. In football, Remo Stars of Ogun State will face Shooting Stars of Ibadan in the final of the 2021 Ogunjobi Gold Cup in Ikene on Saturday. In the first semi-final played on Thursday, Remo Stars beat Niger Tornadoes of Minna 2-1, while 3SC won the match against MFM of Lagos 3-2 via penalties after both teams played a goalless draw.
Good. That's it from Panorama from Port Harcourt Network Center. Remember, rape is a crime. Let's fight it together. Thanks for watching and good afternoon.